Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 4, Text 34. Yasmin Mahad Guna Rajan. Yasmin Mahad Guna Rajan. Griyante Kavibe Moho. Griyante Kavibe Moho. Nate Dhuna Pitiyante. Nate Dhuna Pitiyante. Yata Bhagavatishvare. Yata Bhagavatishvare. Yasmin Mahad Guna Rajan. Griyante Kavibe Moho. Nate Dhuna Pidhiyante. Yata Bhagavatishvare. Yasmin, in whom Mahad Guna, exalted transcendental qualities. Rajan, O King. Griyante, are glorified. Kavibihi, by persons who are thoughtful and advanced in knowledge. Mohu, always. Na, not. Te, these. Huna, today. Pihiyanti, are obscured. Yata, just as. Bhagavati, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvare, the Supreme Controller. Translation. O King, Prahlad Maharaj's good qualities are still glorified by learned saints and Vaishnavas. As all good qualities are always found, existing in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also exist forever in his devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Purport. From authoritative scriptures it is learned that Prahlad Maharaj still lives in Vaikuntha Loka as well as within this material world on the planet Sutala. This transcendental quality of existing simultaneously in different places is another qualification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Goloka Eva Nivasati Akilatma Bhutam Bhuta Brahma Samhita 5:37. The Lord appears in the core of everyone's heart, yet he exists on his own planet, Goloka Vrindavan. A devotee acquires qualities almost the same as those of the Lord because of unalloyed devotional service. Ordinary living beings cannot be so qualified, but a devotee can be qualified like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not in full but partially. Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here it's described that Prahlad Maharaj attained all the good qualities, almost all the good qualities of Krishna by his devotional service. So, how to perform devotional service for ourselves? We see the exalted position of so many devotees, Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas. So how do we perform devotional service? and attain these qualities. So the first thing, as Prabhupada explained so many times, is we're not the body, we're spirit soul. So if we can somehow or other practice this theoretical understanding, then this is the beginning of devotional service. We come, as we all know, we come into this material world to try and enjoy and control. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we don't want to become the servants anymore. So we come into this material world from wherever we come from. So this tendency, Ishvara Bhav, is the nature that we've adopted, the false ego that we've adopted. So we're considering ourselves this body, we're considering ourselves the controller, we're considering ourselves the enjoyer. So how do we free ourselves from this entanglement, this illusion, this maya? So this practice, the practice of service, of understanding philosophically that we are the servant. I remember when I first read Prabhupada's books, he kept saying, you're the servant of God. And I found it very distasteful, you know. I don't know whether anyone else has experienced that, but if we read that we're the servant and not the controller, then we immediately become, this isn't very nice. I want to be the enjoyer, I want to be the controller. So applying this philosophy of not being the body, being the servant. And what is the other expression that we hear so often, being servant? We're the blissful servant. This is our Satchidananda Vigraha. This is our eternal situation. We are actually happy. We're actually Shishukam Kartam Avyayam. This process is happy and joyfully performed. So if we're not experiencing happiness and joy in our devotional service, then we're doing something wrong, which more than likely is this Ishvara Bhav, this controllership, this desire to enjoy, this desire to be happy independently from Krishna is rearing its head. You probably all experienced coming to Krishna consciousness and experiencing tremendous bliss and happiness because we read the philosophy and we feel that we have all the answers to all our questions, and then we think, all I have to do is become the servant. I remember myself cleaning the toilets at a place called Chaitanya College in England. There was a big building and there was a school for 150 children, and the children aren't the cleanest in the world, and there was a row of these small cubicles, toilets. So I was cleaning and I was thinking, I'm just a servant. So I became very blissful. But then after some time in devotional service, sometimes we become we lose this understanding of being the blissful servant, and we try and enjoy it. We enjoy the kirtan as a servant at first, and then we enjoy the kirtan a little bit as this is nice, this is enjoyable, this is, I'm enjoying this, and maybe we can lead nicely or do something nicely, and we become trying to enjoy for ourselves, not as a service to Krishna. And we lose that bliss. So this understanding we're not the body, although we hear it so many times, is fundamental to understanding that we're the blissful servant of Krishna. This is when the bliss goes, this means that we've lost this concept of being the servant, of being not the body. So being not the body seems very simple and straightforward and is repeated thousands of times, millions of times. But actually, being not the body means that we've actually overcome all our anarthas. Any anartha that we have, ado, shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishta. So this platform of nishta means that we've attained complete realization that we're not the body because we have no more material desires. So does anyone here have material desires? There's two of us, me and him. Everyone else 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have these material desires. So that really means we haven't understood, that we're the blissful servant of Krishna because we're trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. We're trying to make arrangements for nadanam, najanam, nasundarim. We're looking for beautiful women or beautiful men, or we're looking for some financial stability resource, or we're looking for nadanam, najanam, nasundarim. We're looking for followers. We're looking for people to think that we're nice. So if we're still attracted to these things, even if we're not performing them, even if we're not directly trying to get them, if we're still in attraction for these things, then we haven't realized we're not the body. Because when you realize you're not the body, then you realize you're Prakriti, and the only Purusha is Krishna. And we simply happy, just simply blissful actually, serving. There's one Baba we visited occasionally in the last few weeks, and he's sitting in a hut in one forest, and there's no AC, there's no fan, there's no light, and he's chanting 120 rounds every day, and he's reading Bhagavatam, and he has a harmonium actually, and he chants Gita Govinda to his Radha Krishna deities. So he said, how do you manage to live like this, you know? So his reply was, well, I'm not happy doing anything else. I'm only happy when I'm chanting. So I think he's realized a little bit that he's not the body, because he's actually happily engaging, blissfully engaging. He's very blissful. He was chanting on his harmonium Gita Govinda, and he was trying to remain equipoised, because he could see he was, you know, a little bit choked up. So this is, if we're not on this platform of actually relishing and enjoying spiritual life, then we're not engaged in spiritual life. We're actually struggling with our material side. So there's a nice conversation between King Parshvanabarashad and Narad Muni. And the king is saying, I won't say his name again because it's very long. Narad Muni is asking, so what's the goal of life? In 4th canto, you've probably all read. So then Narad Muni, the king turns around and says to Narad, to enjoy. And I was a new devotee when I first read it, and I was thinking, that's a bogus answer, you know, he's a king, he just wants to enjoy. So Narad says, yes, it is to enjoy. It is to have fun, it is to laugh, to enjoy, to relish. But then he qualifies the statement by saying, yes, life, the goal of life, he actually asked, what is the goal of life? And the king just said, to enjoy. He didn't say, you know, eat ghee for tomorrow, he just said to enjoy. So Narad turns around and says, yes, this is the goal of life. And then he qualifies it and says, but materially you can't enjoy. You know, it's temporary, we're here for 80 years, 60 years, 100 years. And material enjoyment is flickering. Chanchala. So he said, no, you can only enjoy spiritually. So this chanting the holy names, dancing in kirtan, taking prasadam, associating with devotees, discussing philosophy, discussing the truth, these are all enjoyable. They're actually more enjoyable than material enjoyment, than nadanam, najanam, nasundaram, than sex life, than followers, and than money. It's actually more enjoyable. Have you met a rich person who's actually happy? They're frightened. They're going to lose their money. They're going to lose their position. They're going to lose their status. They're on a mission to become another notch up in the social or in the economic hierarchy. But they can't be happy. So Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada has given us the solution to being happy. We're all spirit souls. We have spirit souls from China, from Japan, from South America, from Serbia. So we have spirit souls from everywhere. But the one thing that links us all is actually this happiness that we're experiencing in spiritual life. Because we're the Atma, we're the soul, we're the inner self, we're the Jivatma, we're the Prakriti, we're the blissful servant. So this message and this mercy that Prabhupada has given us to realize, or to at least give us information so we can realize. One devotee, one Indian gentleman came to Prabhupada and said, give me your mercy, give me your mercy. Please give me your mercy. And Prabhupada said, the mercy is given, it's up to you to take the mercy. I don't know why I'm pointing at you, Prabhu, but it's up to you to take the mercy. Have you taken the mercy? Little? Yeah. So this is a gift that Prabhupada's given everyone and given us all. And of course, Prabhupada's mood and also described as two types of devotees, as those devotees, the Bhajananandas and the Gosyanandas. So Prabhupada was very much encouraging us all to try and give that mercy to others, to share that mercy. So as potential preachers, we have to try and share that. So what the difference between the Madhyam and the Kanistha? The Kanistha worships Krishna, and the Madhyam befriends devotees and preachers. So if you can try and befriend devotees, make friends with our God brothers, God sisters, and encourage them in their devotional service, then this is also what Prabhupada wants. Not that we just take and we don't try and share. But what's more important than sharing? Does anyone know what's more important than sharing Krishna consciousness? Someone must know, I'm sure. They're all very humble Vaishnavas here, they're not prepared to say anything. So you can't give what you don't have. So what's more important? Oh, that was Radhishama Sana. Radhishama ki jai. Shri Krishna Balarama ki jai. Shri Shri Gaunataya ki jai. Yeah, to take the mercy. So we can't give what we don't have. So if we're not blissful in devotionals, two devotees, older devotees, were walking, and one devotee asked the other devotee, what's the most important thing in Krishna consciousness? What's the most important principle? What advice would you give is the most important thing in Krishna consciousness? And the devotee said, to be blissful. Because how can we give something we don't have? So first we have to take. This is the point where selfishness and selflessness meets, where we take. We're greedy for the mercy, we're greedy for Krishna consciousness, we're greedy for the taste of blissful serving. And then when we're blissful, then we can give. Just like the story of Jayananda. One devotee came to the temple, and Jayananda was just doing some menial service. He was taking out the rubbish, or the trash if you're American, taking out the rubbish from the temple. And this devotee came for the first time, and Jayananda said, "Oh, you just came. Can you just help me with the trash? Help me with the rubbish?" So he spent the day with Jayananda, and he was thinking, if this guy is so blissful and he's a trash man, then this is the place for me. And he joined that day, he just joined. So this is our duty. Actually, our duty is not to be miserable. Our duty isn't to be fried, sautéed, toasted, roasted. Our duty is to take the mercy, to become blissful as much as we can, engage ourselves according to our swabhava, according to our tendencies, and be happy and blissful. And then when we have that happiness and bliss, then we can give to others. So what are the other ingredients needed for this blissful state of consciousness? Anyone, any ideas? Rupa Goswami says there's 6 loving exchanges. So there's 4 external ones: giving, receiving prasadam, and giving and receiving gifts. And then the only internal one is guyam akriti prichati, this confidential inquiry and revealing a mind in confidence. So we can't see our Maya very easily. It's quite difficult to see ourselves. We can look ourselves in the mirror, but then we can't see so much. But if we have a close friend that's actually our well-wisher, and if they have 2 things, they have intent to help and ability to help, then we can start confidential relationships, and we can base our relationships on truth, which is Krishna. Krishna is the sum and bonum of all truth. So if you can start to have truthful relationships with each other, based on love and affection, not based on danda and the stick. Danda and the stick is the same, isn't it? So rather than trying to, we read a sloka and then we get our sloka book out and we machine gun sloka someone, we're actually, out of love and affection, we try to help each other, we try and understand each other, we try and be a friend with Krishna in the center. Then this process of blissful service becomes, we have an aid, we have an assistant, we have a friend who's helping us. So this guyam akriti prichati is a very important principle in the process of devotional service. We can come read the books, but unless we have a confidential friend, at least 1, maybe 2, that can help us in our devotional service, then this is a great aid to our devotional practice, our progress in devotional service. So this blissful service is something we should try and strive for, try and prioritize as being the most important aspect of our lives. our chanting, our association, our engaging ourselves in whatever material activity that we do, at least seemingly material activity, as a means to inspire our blissful service attitude. So here Prahlad Maharaj is blissfully engaged in service in two places, in Vaikuntha and in Sutala. He was able to manifest in himself completely different forms. So it's described here that Prahlad had almost the same good qualities as Krishna. So we can practice devotional service externally. 10th offense to the holy name, maintain material attachments even after understanding. 8th offense, to consider the chanting Hare Krishna to be ritualistic. So we can be ritualistic on our practice. We can be here for Mangalarti, we can be following the principles, we can be chanting 16 rounds a day, we can be externally doing everything. But internally, if we're not cultivating and churning this philosophy and this attitude towards trying to develop a blissful mentality, and we can feel it, like Prabhupada gives the example of a stomach. When the stomach's full, then we know. So when we're in kirtan and we're happy, we don't have to, someone doesn't have to say, you look happy, you feel happy. And when you're in kirtan and you're trying to be happy, but it's not, then we have to be a little introspective, go back to the philosophy and say, what am I doing wrong? My attitude, my service, or am I having some disagreement? Is there some situation I'm in which is creating me anxiety, disturbance? And then we have to work out, because we're involved in the science of self-realization. We're trying to understand ourselves. So we have to understand what makes us blissful. And if we're not blissful, we have to understand what's stopping us, what's blocking us, what particular anxiety, what particular... And we say in Krishna consciousness, anartha, which sort of makes it feel like, you're against the wall, and I've got anarthas. But what anxiety and what anxiety we're going through that's causing us to stop being blissful. So this is a science of self-realization, and we have to try and prioritize our spiritual life. Our spiritual life is more important than anything. If we are a father or a husband, then how would you help your wife and children? If you're happy and blissful, not that you neglect them, but if you're happy and blissful, then the whole family becomes happy and blissful, and you can help your wife become happy and blissful, you can help your children become happy and blissful, you can help your workmates become happy, you can help your godbrothers. But if you're miserable, what do they say in English? Misery loves company. Oh, Prabhu, I'm so fried, Did you see that devotee? I was just like, what is he doing? Yeah, I know, and I saw this one over here doing this, and then this happened, and then, rather than sitting down and saying, I just read something in Bhagavatam, it's so nice, Prabhupada phrased it so nicely, or, I have some bhajan, some kirtan, some discussion about Krishna, some preaching. Oh, I met this person the other day, and I discussed and introduced a little bit of Krishna consciousness, and discuss in a very positive way, because Krishna consciousness is bhakti-yoga, and bhakti-yoga means positive. It's all the do's and do's. Rupa Goswami says, chant first, the principles the second. So it's a positive affirmation, it's a positive modus operandi. And what's Mayavadi? It's the opposite. Not this, not that. Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And what happens to the Mayavadi? He becomes very hard-hearted. I'm very staunch. I follow everything strictly, and I take 6 baths a day, and I do this, and they become very hard-hearted. But what happens to the devotee? First chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, the last verse. What does Krishna say in the purport? Such a soft-hearted devotee of the Lord is fit for self-knowledge. So the qualification of a devotee is they become soft-hearted, and when they become soft-hearted, what happens? Shrimati Radharani just gives her mercy, because they're soft-hearted, they're gentle, they're loving. Bhakti-yoga means devotion. Devotion means love. So if there's no love in our heart, then how can we receive? So this practice of bhakti-yoga is very positive. We can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. And when we come a little bit away from the initial rules and regulations that we have to follow, and actually Prabhupada very nicely in Nectar of Devotion, his first comment about Raganuga Bhakti, does anyone know? His first comment, when there's a chapter starting Raganuga Bhakti, his first comment is, devotee who is on the Raga platform, he likes to go to Mangalarti. So the original principles that we join with, we keep. But when there's a taste for devotional service, some affection, some love, some comes from the heart. And you see it in other places in the world. I come from a country where everyone's very polite and reserved, and you can't use the word love or affection. But then you go other places in the world, and everyone's very loving and friendly. So this loving propensity is there, and bhakti-yoga means to bring out this loving propensity. Not in a sentimental way, but in understanding the philosophy very clearly. We're not the body, we're spirit soul, we're blissful servants of Krishna, and this love of God as a kanishta manifests into love of the other devotees as a madhyam. So this friendship, this is all very positive and all very happy and blissful. So we can encourage each other, and we can try and become Krishna conscious ourselves, and we can see from the example of Prahlad Maharaj and all the great Vaishnavas how you look at Prabhupada. In fact, there's a nice story with Prabhupada. Most of the devotees probably know. Giriraj Maharaj's parents were on a morning walk with Prabhupada. So then Prabhupada met his mother and said, oh, because Giriraj Maharaj was probably 20, 25 at the time, so his mother's probably no more than 40, 25, 15, 45 maybe, and she's still looking very young. So Prabhupada goes up to Giriraj, and with mother, and with big surprise, with his big eyes, he says, oh, you're so young. And Giriraj's mother just melts, because for any lady at 45 to be, it's just nice, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada meant it. It wasn't a sales ploy. It wasn't just flattering for the sake. He meant it. She looked very young. So she was very happy. So the walk carried on, and they're walking back to the car, and Giriraj's father is... I hope Giriraj Maharaj isn't listening to this class, just in case I not get it right. But Giriraj Maharaj's father is walking back with Prabhupada, and the devotees had hired a Rolls Royce for Prabhupada, and Prabhupada could see that his father was like, you're a sadhu, and you have a Rolls Royce. And so he said, oh, would you like to come back with me in the car? And Giriraj's father is very, a gentleman. So he says, no, Prabhupada, you go with your disciples. So Prabhupada. So then Hari Suri was watching this, and he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, everybody loves you. And if someone said that to yourself, you go, no, Krishna. But Prabhupada said, yes, everyone does love me. And then he said, because I love everyone. So this is an example of how we have to develop this loving side, because you can't give what you don't have. So most devotees, especially in the early days when Prabhupada was preaching to the first devotees, he was giving them philosophy, he was giving them kirtan. But the thing that most devotees say about Prabhupada is they fell in love with Prabhupada, and they just wanted to give their lives to Prabhupada. So if we want to be followers of Prabhupada, then we have to try and develop the same modus operandi. We have to develop some genuine love for the Lord, at least a little shadow reflection of, and then that love has to be manifested to helping others. And when people see this person likes me, this person doesn't want to exploit me, he wants to help me, then the bhakti can flow. It's like the example, if, as a conditioned soul, if I'm a temple president, and when someone comes to the temple, I'm thinking, great, another devotee, we get the floor washed, we can get, maybe he's a book distributor, maybe get some fundraising, maybe he's a cook, maybe, we need someone to do the prasadam transfer, great, an extra man on the floor, fantastic. That's the conditioned soul's view of when someone comes. And then when a pure devotee sees someone, they're thinking, how can I serve this person to re-establish their loving relationship with Krishna? How can I serve them? How can I give them that love that I'm feeling? How can I give it to them? Because they have it in their heart. They have it. So how can I bring it out so they can become blissful and happy? So there's a whole different mentality. And of course the first mentality of the conditioned soul is this Ishwara Bhav, a little bit of controllership, a little bit of enjoying. How can I use this person in my preaching or in my service? So this impersonalism, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, we have to be very careful that we try and, because first understanding is that I am an impersonalist, I am a Mayavadi, I want to enjoy, I want to control, and I want everyone to do what I say. So from that point of acceptance that we have this conditioned nature, unless there's anyone here from Goloka directly, then I beg to forgive. But for the conditioned soul, for myself, then I'm thinking, how do I recognize this impersonalism and how do I overcome it? So there's behavioral traits. Impersonalists will behave this way, Mayavadis will behave this way. The Mayavadi will think I'm God and I'll be very harsh, you should serve me, you should do what I tell you, I'm performing all these austerities, I'm Om Narayana Namaha, I'm Narayan, and you should. So this is the characteristics of a Mayavadi in terms of behavior. And then the impersonalist, everything's one, they're all just, you should all just do what you're told, and there's you don't need personal care because you're a spirit soul, aham brahmastami, you just merge blissfully into servitude, and you just serve, and I don't care what your psychophysical nature is, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, you should just serve. So there's behavioral traits of an impersonalist we see in ourselves, and then the personalist is behaving in a different way altogether. He's seeing people and thinking, how can we get them to be blissful in devotional service? How can I serve this person to be happy? What does he like? Oh, he loves kirtan. Let's try and get him involved as much kirtan as he loves to study. Great. He likes to clean. Great. We have one friend that lives in Chaitanya, anyway, it's near here, and she loves to clean, and her house is just immaculate. So then she engages her propensity in cleaning, and other devotees like to discuss philosophy. Just actually the next verse in Bhagavatam describes how the devotees like to discuss philosophy amongst themselves. So whatever the person loves to do, but that's one of the seed verses of Bhagavatam. Machita magarat prana, bhogyasya paraspa, katyantastu mocha, tushanticha romanticha. So whatever gives us joy that's within the realm of devotional service, which is within the principles of, we should really encourage that in ourselves so we can become happy and blissful. And then when we're blissful, we can share that. And when we do that to ourselves, then we realize, oh, this is making me blissful. I'm finding out what I like to do, and I'm doing it in Krishna's service. So when I meet other people, my preaching, I can say, oh, this person loves music, so bring your guitar to the kirtan, or whatever they love to do, you see. And that will, we talk about fanning the spark. But the spark isn't impersonal, everyone's spirit soul. The spark is the person. So every one of us has a beautiful, individual, unique relationship with Krishna that no one else has. No one else, everyone in this room, everyone on the planet, everyone in the universe has an individual relationship with Krishna. So Krishna actually wants you. He wants that relationship because we're bahimukhi, we've turned our face away from Krishna. But he actually wants us. He wants that relationship. And everyone in this room has a unique relationship with Krishna. And Krishna wants that. He actually wants that, to re-establish that loving relationship. So we're not impersonalists, we're not Mayavadis, we're trying to stimulate that affection and love for Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj had that love for Krishna. As a 5-year-old boy, we actually lived just recently with a 5-year-old boy in England, and we had direct experience. 5-year-old boys, they love adventure and they're just looking for fun, and they're very naughty as well. This one was very naughty. So Prahlad Maharaj, as a 5-year-old boy, is just getting persecuted by his father, but then all of a sudden this huge lion steps out of a pillar. You can imagine for a 5-year-old boy, this is like, yeah, this is great, this is a great adventure. So Prahlad Maharaj is actually relishing and enjoying at the age of 5 this loving reciprocation by Krishna. So we should try and develop this in our own lives to some degree and try and see the positive side of our Krishna consciousness and not become negative when we see that we're attached to this, or this is a problem we have. So how do we get rid of the problem? We analyze what it is and we try philosophically work out how to overcome that problem. And we work on it. We don't become depressed. It's like there's a word sorry in English that gets used a lot. You just say sorry, and that means, sorry means, I'm sorry I did it, but don't bother I'm not going to change, I'm just saying sorry, so you should forgive me. We look at what our problem is. It's like if we have a problem, we're speaking with one devotee just the other day, and I can't remember exactly. Anyway, the point was that he had a particular, he felt he had a trait that wasn't so good. Oh, that was it, responsibility. So the devotee was saying that he doesn't feel responsible. He feels responsible to keep in touch with a couple of devotees, and he hasn't. So rather than just say sorry, just send them a text. And then immediately you've done something positive towards your guilt or your negativity. So we can live in a positive environment. So this positiveness is bhakti-yoga, and this negative is actually mayavadi. Not this, not that. Because we're none of these things. We're actually pure spirit soul. The same point again, coming back to the beginning. We're not the body. We're blissful, eternal servants of Krishna. So any anxiety or any fear that we experience is ultimately not identifying with us as who we really are, blissful servants of Krishna, servants of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So we should really endeavor to try and be very positive and personal with ourselves, firstly, and then with everyone else. So there's time for questions. If anyone has any questions, comments or corrections, they're very welcome to. There's a microphone, it just gets past.
Exchanges, but then in my mind, well, it is that this word loving exchanges, it seems so high, and then I don't practice them. Something like that. Like this verse, we think, oh yes, so great, so far, no? To be so humble. And so at the same time, we think, oh, this 6 loving exchanges, yes, but so we forget them.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Nice. Where are you from, Prabhu?
From Italy.
From Italy, and you're talking about you don't have loving exchanges and you're Italian? I'm joking because the Italian people are very friendly and very nice. So you're having loving exchanges all the time, even materially.
Yes. No, I'm talking about our ISKCON society. Sometimes,
that's another thing. Yeah, but I mean, for me to take the point that you're saying that you don't feel that you feel like it's high up personally as an individual. So, isn't it like that when we don't feel qualified, then generally we are, and then when we are qualified, when we're not qualified, we generally feel that we are. So I'm sure that you have lots of loving exchanges with your family, friends, and close devotees. But the second part of the question, how to help ISKCON with that, is something that philosophically we have to discuss and talk about and educate devotees when they come, that these 6 principles are our 6 loving principles, and the 4 are external and 2 are internal. So to build that in each other is a big challenge. We have to start with ourselves, and then we can try and help others. Like Trinadapi Sinichaya, to be lower than the straw on the street. Yeah, I mean, a straw on the street gets trampled on, and it's not, personally speaking, it's not a platform that I'm anywhere near. I just understand the principle, and if someone's, when you listen to someone speaking, and they're speaking something that's wrong, but you feel like you want to be there for them and share with them so they feel comfortable talking about anything, then sometimes you have to be a little humble and you just accept what they're saying is maybe not, but they're feeling some anxiety and some pain, and if you don't let them express their pain and anxiety and you correct them, then it stops the flow of their ability to speak about their problem. So that's love, that's affection, that's humility. So these are little practices of it. So we may become depressed that we're not there, but again that's negative. So that's generally Mayavadi tendency, that we're just not qualified. But actually, the way we live, the way we practice, the way we behave, we just try and increase a little bit our qualities, little by little, with the philosophical understanding that I should be lower than them. So it's like giving and receiving gifts. In some countries, whenever you go to visit someone else, they bring a gift. Or when you go and visit them, you receive a gift when you host. So this is all tiny things, but this is all loving exchange. So when you go to someone's house, you take something, even a rose you picked up from something, because you're thinking about, or you buy them some nice gift, or if they've just had a baby, so this is all, even like Prabhupada says in the purport of that verse in Upadeshamrita, he says even in business, they sit down and they have a meal together, and then, so these loving exchanges we can little by little increase. But as for the whole of world, and the whole ISKCON world, and the people outside it, then that requires education and time. And is that okay? Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Everyone is fully... No? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Vaishnava Sangha ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Bol.